You have two chances to join Michael Voris in Canada. The first in Ottawa on May 24th, and the second on May 26th in Toronto, where he'll be speaking about the new evangelization and living your faith with charity and boldness. For all the details, just click on either of the links in the description.
A Chinese pro-life activist finally finds a safe haven. A famous author throws the book at a Catholic university, and Gaga gets gagged in the Philippines. All that and more coming up on today's Catholic News Roundup.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. This was the scene in New York City this past weekend. As blind Chinese pro-life activist Chen and his family arrived safely in New York City. The arrival of Chen, his wife, and two children to the Big Apple marks the end of a testy foreign relations exchange between China and the United States, as Chen was suddenly told by government officials on Saturday to pack his bags. Chen has spent the last 7 years in prison and under physically abusive house arrest from communist government officials after exposing forced abortions in the enforcement of China's one-child-per-family policy. He said upon his arrival in America that he is looking forward to the partial U.S. citizenship granted him and his family as he begins to study law at New York University. Exorcising Georgetown. A renowned author wants to sue Georgetown University in a court of canon law for calling itself Catholic. Author of the famous book-turned-movie The Exorcist, William Blatty, is raising any support he can to appeal to the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. to take action, quote, up to and including the possible removal or suspension of Georgetown's right to call itself Jesuit or even Catholic when asking for any kind of support. Blatty says the college's recent invitation of the dissenting Catholic and Health and Human Services Secretary, Kathleen Sebelius, to speak at Georgetown's commencement ceremony is only one of many dissenting actions that violate Ex Corde Ecclesiae regarding the conduct of Catholic universities. Ex Corde Ecclesiae is an apostolic constitution written by Pope John Paul II, in which universities bearing the name Catholic are called to take an oath, swearing to keep and defend church teachings. Priest convicted. An ex-priest in Texas has been convicted of hiring a hitman to kill his accuser, a man bringing sexual abuse charges against him in a separate case. John Fiala, who also faces sexual assault charges for repeatedly molesting a 16-year-old boy since 2008, has been sentenced to 60 years in prison. CBS reports a neighbor of Fiala's told police he was offered $5,000 by Fiala to kill the boy, an offer caught on video during a police sting operation and played in the courtroom, though Fiala claims he ordered the hit under duress, fearing that if he didn't, he would be killed instead. However, the jury was convinced by the prosecuting attorneys in the case, and Fiala is sentenced to 60 years in prison with the possibility of parole in 15 years. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
A sign of the times. A Catholic church in Massachusetts is receiving threats after posting a sign strongly expressing opposition to Obama's endorsement of same-sex marriage. St. Francis Xavier Parish posted a sign saying, quote, "Two men are friends, not spouses," highlighting the fact that homosexual unions are not the same thing as sacramental marriage. The pastor, Monsignor Gerard O'Connor, said in an interview with Boston television station, quote, "That's what the church teaches. We understand people disagree with us, but we do it out of love. We never said we hate anybody," end quote. And though the sign has now been removed, a local activist has posted another sign on the fence outside the church along with a rainbow balloon saying, quote, "You may not be welcome in the church, but you are in this community. Spread love, not hate." Gaga gagged in Manila. Young Filipinos are hitting the streets of Manila calling for the cancellation of a concert by pop music diva Lady Gaga because of her anti-Christian music. Some 70 members of a group called Bible Mode Youth Philippines protested in front of the Pasay City Hall in Greater Manila, chanting to, quote, "Stop the Lady Gaga concerts." The protesters say they are offended by Gaga's music and videos because they mock Christ, citing in particular a song called Judas, which talks about her sexual relationship with Christ's betrayer. Organizers of the concert tour have announced possible cancellation of the concert in Manila for, quote, "security reasons," because of threats from area Muslims. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. Also be sure to check out The Vortex, where Michael talks about preaching for political outcome versus preaching for the sake of truth. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.
Become a premium member on RealCatholicTV.com today. Not only will you learn about the one true faith, just think of all the new friends you'll make.